What would you do if praying to God could cost you your life? Imagine knowing that one simple prayer could send you straight into a den filled with hungry lions. Most people would stay silent. Most people would hide, but one man didn't. His name was Daniel, and his courage would lead to one of the most powerful miracles recorded in the Bible. Long ago, the kingdom of Babylon conquered the land of Israel. Many Israelites were taken far away from their homes and forced to live in this powerful empire. Among them was a young man named Daniel. Daniel was different. He was wise, disciplined, and deeply devoted to God. Even in a foreign land surrounded by people who worshipped other gods, Daniel refused to forget the God of Israel. Years passed, kingdoms changed, kings rose and fell, but Daniel remained faithful. Eventually, a new ruler came to power, a king named Darius. King Darius quickly noticed something special about Daniel. Daniel was honest, he was wise, he was trustworthy. In fact, he proved himself so capable that the king placed him in charge of many important affairs in the kingdom. Soon Daniel became one of the most powerful officials in the entire empire. But not everyone was happy about that. Other leaders in the government became jealous. They could not understand how this foreigner had risen so high, so they began looking for a way to accuse Daniel. They examined his work carefully. They watched everything he did. They searched for mistakes or corruption. But they found nothing. Daniel was honest in every responsibility he handled. No matter how hard they tried, they could not find a single fault in him. Finally, they realized something important. The only way to trap Daniel was through his faith. So they came up with a plan. These officials went to King Darius and said, "Your Majesty, all the leaders of the kingdom have agreed that the king should issue a decree. For the next 30 days, anyone who prays to any god or human being except you must be thrown into the lion's den." The king liked the idea. It sounded like a way to unite the kingdom and honor his authority. In those days, when a law was signed by the king, it could not be changed. So King Darius signed the decree. From that moment on, praying to God was against the law. But Daniel soon heard about the new law. He understood exactly what it meant. If he prayed, he would be arrested. If he was arrested, he would be thrown into the lion's den. Daniel had a choice to make. He could stop praying for 30 days. He could hide his faith. No one would blame him. But Daniel chose something different. He went home. He opened the windows of his house that faced toward Jerusalem. Then he knelt down and prayed to God, just as he had always done. Not once, not twice, but 3 times that day. Daniel chose faith over fear. Meanwhile, the jealous officials were watching carefully. They rushed to Daniel's house and caught him praying. Immediately, they went back to the king. They said, "Your Majesty, did you not sign a law that anyone who prays to another god must be thrown into the lion's den?" The king replied, "Yes, the law stands." Then they said, "Daniel, who is one of the captives from Judah, ignores you. He still prays to his God 3 times a day." The king was deeply troubled when he heard this. He respected Daniel and did not want him to die. All day long, he searched for a way to save him, but the law of the Medes and Persians could not be changed. As evening approached, the king realized there was no escape. Daniel was brought before the lion's den. It was a dark pit deep in the ground, filled with powerful lions. King Darius looked at Daniel with sorrow and said, "May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you." Then Daniel was lowered into the den. A large stone was rolled over the entrance, and the king sealed it with his own ring so that no one could open it. That night, the king could not sleep. He refused food. Music could not comfort him. His mind was filled with one question: was Daniel still alive? As soon as the first light of dawn appeared, the king rushed to the lion's den. His heart was pounding. Standing near the entrance, he called out with a trembling voice, "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God been able to rescue you from the lions?" For a moment, there was silence. Then a voice came from the darkness. "O king, live forever." It was Daniel. "My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me because I was found innocent before him." The king was filled with joy. Immediately, he ordered that Daniel be lifted out of the den. When Daniel was pulled out, everyone saw something incredible. Daniel was completely unharmed. Not a single scratch was found on him. God had protected him. The king then gave a command that the men who had falsely accused Daniel should be thrown into the lions' den instead. And then King Darius made a new decree for the entire kingdom. He declared that everyone must respect the God of Daniel. For he is the living God, the king proclaimed. He endures forever. His kingdom will never be destroyed. He rescues and saves. He performs signs and wonders. And Daniel continued to serve faithfully in the kingdom for many years. The story of Daniel is not really about lions. It is about faith. Daniel could have hidden his beliefs. He could have stayed silent when the law was passed. But he chose to trust God no matter the cost. And God honored that faith. Sometimes doing what is right can be difficult. Sometimes faith requires courage. But Daniel's story reminds us that God sees those who trust him. Even in the darkest situations, even when danger surrounds us, God is still able to protect, rescue, and deliver. Daniel faced a den of lions, but the lions could not stop the power of God. And the same God Daniel trusted is still the same today. The God who saves, the God who protects, the God who honors faith. If this story encouraged you, subscribe and join us as we bring more powerful stories from the Bible to life. Share this story with someone who needs hope today. And remember, when you trust God, even the lions cannot stop his plan.